Welcome back, Discover Statesville fans. If you're ready to cruise into June, you're going to want to tune in now.
Welcome to Discover Statesville, the show that takes you on a captivating journey through the heart of one of North Carolina's most charming towns.
All right, welcome back to Discover Statesville. Today we are joined by Pete Barger, co-founder and CEO of Southern Distilling Company. Welcome, Pete.
Oh,
Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here,
guys. Great to be here.
So several months ago, we had your partner Vienna on,
Right.
And one of the things that we talked about, we were really hyper focused on Southern Distilling, obviously, but one of the things that we talked about was, you know, sort of the significant rise of Southern Distilling over the years, and all the accolades that you guys have received in the short time of you know, the foundation of your company.
Right.
But I understand that you have received more accolades recently.
Yeah, we've there's several competitions that we participate in, and in our industry, competitions can kind of be like YMCA soccer. You know, there's certain competitions that
Everybody gets a medal.
everybody's special, everybody's a winner. And we choose not to participate in those because we really, you know, we want to know how we're doing, right? Are we doing it right, or are there opportunities for improvement? So, you know, there are a handful of really what we would call more prestigious competitions, and those are the ones that we like to participate in. You know, so you guys may remember a couple of years ago, we won the New York World Wine and Spirits competition, best bourbon in the world in 22. I think the only non-Kentucky bourbon to ever win that accolade. Wow. So that's kind of hard to top. But, you know, this year, yeah, we've got, I think, 13 medals that we've accumulated so far. For the bourbon lovers out there, you guys probably know Fred Minnick, and Fred Minnick is a big critic based out of Louisville, Kentucky. He's got a deal called the Ascot Awards because he always wears an ascot, right?
Okay.
And
That is classy.
Yeah, he's a very classy guy. Good guy. But we got 2 platinums and 3 golds.
Oh, wow.
In his competition this past I guess month actually, and then one that's actually kind of I think more important is we won some medals at the SIP Awards, and this is a consumer-based award. So instead of having the critics and the industry insiders, it's the consumers.
It's the everyman, yeah.
And those are the guys that matter because those are the guys that buy our bottles, right? And so super proud we picked up 2 double golds in that competition for our ryes. So most people think about us for our bourbons, but the ryes we do a really good job on. So, you know, the double rye product, and then the Hunting Creek rye, which is right now only available in North Carolina, and that's a heritage brand that was really, we've re-released it. It was produced here in Statesville up until 1903, so 120 years later, we've re-released it, and that won a double gold.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Putting Statesville on the map is an understatement. Of course, we see all of your social media followers constantly, and like you said, critics, but even the consumers who want to be influencers,
Right.
constantly posting about all of your great products.
Well, and that's how, you know, little guys like us, kind of David and Goliath, that's how we win is, you know, through that consumer interface and that whole social presence. And we've got really good people who are helping us with that right now. But you got to have a story to tell.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the cool things is I think a lot of folks know that, you know, our main business is we do a lot of contract production for a lot of other brands around the world. You know, and the branded side of the business is actually a pretty small part of the business today. Now, you know, we'd like it to be the majority of the business, but that's a long haul. But the thing that's so rewarding is that we get to talk about these awards. I don't get to talk about it, you know, with most of our clients because we're under NDA. We can't, you know, everything is super top secret. So it's always nice when you get to brag a little bit about the awards.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
We are certainly proud that you guys call Statesville, North Carolina home. Talking about Southern Distilling, you guys are you in almost every state now, or
No,
your footprint's growing pretty fast, right?
No, and so there's a couple of things about this industry. Everybody believes when they start is that wide distribution is what you want, but wide distribution is really very expensive, and you know it's more important to go deep than it is to go wide. And the other thing is that it's important to win at home. And, North Carolina is home, and we got to kill it in North Carolina. That's the most important market. That's why we've got the sponsorship with the Panthers and Charlotte FC, is because, North Carolina's home, and we got to win here, got to be seen here. We're in 27 markets. I would tell you that was probably a mistake to go into 27 markets, quite honestly.
Wow.
We've pulled back and scaled back so that we're really pushing on more like 18 markets, I think, today, most on the East Coast. Vienna's from California. I'm from Statesville, so we have to have a presence in California, but California is a very tough market to win in.
Yeah, well, I think just being in that many states in the short amount of time that you guys have been open, I mean, it seems like forever, but it really is a short amount of time that
11 years.
Yeah.
And, 11 years since we incorporated the company. If you go back 11 years ago, our offices were right across the street, over here. I guess that was the old Spain Hours building.
Really?
Yeah, that's where Vienna leased a storefront office there, and while we were doing all the design and engineering, that's kind of where we were for 2 years, I guess. And then, of course, once the construction was done on the Jennings Road site, we, of course, moved out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's an amazing facility. Slow, smart growth.
Yep.
So we wanted to talk to you about your awards because we think that's amazing and we're proud of you guys. But
Thank you.
The main reason we're here today is to talk about this very cool thing that you're passionate about and that you're doing, and it's the Great Race, the 2024 Great Race. And for you, this is going to be the second time.
It's our second year
that you've participated in it.
Yep.
But we want to talk through. You guys are going to do a cruise-in to kind of celebrate the race and kick it off, and we're going to give some details on that. But tell us about the Great Race. Why the Great Race for Southern Distilling and for Pete? And
so it's a good thing that we have 20 minutes because it's a bit of a story, right? But I think it's an interesting story, especially for people who love cars, right? So a lot of people are familiar with the Great Race. More people would be familiar with, say, the Cannonball, right? Because there's a movie about the Cannonball. But the Great Race and the Cannonball are very similar. It's just private, independent guys getting out and doing a cross-country race. Now, the difference is that historically the Cannonball was a race for speed. The Great Race is not a race for speed. The Great Race is what we call a time trial. So it's a timed event. And that's important because we have cars as old as 1912 all the way up through 1974. So these are not speed demons. The 1912 car I had to follow last year, really great guys, super good group of guys. They're all attorneys, and for 2 weeks out of the year, they pack up in a 50-year-old bus and go out with this 1912 American LaFrance and then campaign it. But that American LaFrance started out as a fire truck.
wow.
And then they converted it way, way back into a quote-unquote Indy racer. But when it leaves, it looks like the Exxon Valdez has just left the dock there. I mean, it's like oil everywhere. And last year we had to follow it. And, of course, we're all covered with oil. And they wear jumpsuits. They wear these bright yellow jumpsuits to protect them from all of the flying debris. I was like, I need one. So we traded out some whiskey. We got our jumpsuits, and we're ready to go now.
Nice.
Right. But anyway, so the Great Race, it's what I say, 4,000 miles the hard way because, it's a 10-day event. It's cross country. We don't know where we are going until 30 minutes before our allocated start time, and we have to start in sequence. There'll be roughly 300 miles per leg, give or take, each day. No GPS, no maps, no phones. All
sounds like heaven.
all secondary roads, right? But it's a little bit like an Easter egg hunt. You get very, very cryptic instructions, and then you've got to hit checkpoints. You don't know where they're going to be. You know there's going to be 6 of them, but you don't know where they're going to be. And you've got to hit them exactly at the right time.
Oh.
So you can't be a minute late. You can't be a minute. I mean, you can be, but you lose points for that. So, the ideal is to hit that checkpoint right on time. 0 seconds early, 0 seconds late. If you make it perfectly, it's called an ace.
An ace.
You get an ace. We got 2 aces last year, which was a big deal for a couple of rookies. I navigated. Trinity, our oldest, our son, he drove. I was going to drive, and he was going to navigate until he looked at the navigation. It's like 300 unique instructions. And it's like, I won't even go into the complexity of it. He's like, hell no, I'm not doing that. So I'll drive.
And so you said they are pretty cryptic. I mean, it's like putting together a puzzle. I mean, you're having to sort of figure out clues for directions?
It's super cryptic. So it's literally, it's like, you know, go 27 miles an hour until you see the right-hand curve sign that has 20 miles an hour slow down, not the one that's 35 miles an hour slow down, and then make a right-hand turn. And the way they calculate the perfect time is that they assume that your car will go from 0 to whatever instantaneously. It slows down instantaneously. Cars don't do that, right? So you have to calculate, well, how fast does my car accelerate and brake and come out of a turn?
Wow, so that's pretty intricate.
Yeah, and then there's
I had no idea.
I am sitting there with the calculator and a bunch of tables, all, you know, and then barking instructions.
Last year, I just assumed you were going on a nice leisurely ride.
I would drive as well.
I'm going to tell you right now, when I signed up for this thing, I thought, man, this would be so much fun. It's going to be a cross-country tour. I'm going to get to see lots of neat places. You don't see anything. You see the calculator, and you're looking at the signs, and Trinity, bless his heart, you've got to, well, if you want to win, you got to have a calibrated speedometer, which is like this big, and he's staring at the speedometer. And when he gets out of the car, all he can see is his blue remnant of the speedometer. It takes about 2 hours for that to disappear from his vision.
And so how many teams are there usually?
About 200.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and we're actually sponsoring this year. So
yeah,
we had such a great time last year. We said, hey, why don't we sponsor the event? So starts out in Owensboro, Kentucky, and ends in Maine. I'm not even sure you've got the map here. Gardner, Maine. So never been to Maine. Get to see it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So over eight days, June 22nd through June 30th.
And it actually starts a couple of days earlier for some pre-trial events. So
Okay.
it's kind of like speed check, make sure everything works the way it's supposed to work.
So Southern Distilling brand all over across the states again. Guys, you guys put Statesville on the map.
On every car, yeah.
Yeah. But to send you off, right, your team came up with this great idea to do a summer cruise in and bring in other cars.
Yeah, we're going to have a big cruise in at the distillery June 13th. I think there's slots still available, slots still open. You can go out to our website, I think, and find it there. But so June 13th, I think that's a Thursday from 5 to 9. But, you know, bring whatever brings you joy. I don't really care. I mean, so we're campaigning a 1967 Bonneville. Cars can't be newer than 1974. You know, but we're agnostic. We just love cars. So bring whatever makes you happy. I'll be happy to see you there. But we're going to have food trucks, craft cocktails, of course, live music, and a very, very special single barrel release commemorating the great race this year.
Only available on that date, right? At that event?
I think only available that date at the distillery. Yeah.
Well, we will be there. And last update, I heard there's already over 65 cars registered.
I think there's probably more than that.
Yeah. Okay.
You gonna bring a car?
If I had one, I would.
Do you have a car, a pre-74 car?
Can I bring a toy car?
Hey, you don't. You do not have to bring a pre-74 car.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
if you want to race in the Great Race, you got to have a pre-74.
Okay.
But to come to our cruise in again, just bring whatever puts a smile on your face, right?
Yeah, no, we're going to be out there with a fun gift from the Statesville Convention and Visitors Bureau to help send Pete off. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
We are very excited about that.
Is it going to be some goofy sunglasses that I have to wear when I'm out there?
Goggles to go with your yellow
it's
jumpsuit.
actually we worked with your team in the tasting room. And we were looking at some different options for gifts for when visitors come in, and we were bringing a pint glass in, and it turned out it's called silly. They're called silly pints. They're made out of silicone, BPA free, go in the dishwasher, microwave. But they're in the same colors as your commemorative. Your recent release for the
Charlotte Football Club.
For the Charlotte Football Club, and it's a rocks glass.
Oh, cool.
So it's a rocks glass.
It'll be perfect for the Great Race.
That's right. Send everybody off in style.
Yeah,
so we're looking forward to it. So we know that Pete Barger is a car enthusiast.
Yep.
But we'd love for our listeners who may not know anything about Southern Distilling or anything about you and your family to learn a little bit about you. One of the things Richard and I really, really enjoy about Discover Statesville is the things that we get to learn about the people that make up the patchwork of this amazing community that we live in. So people who live here or people from afar who are listening, like tell us about Pete Barger. I mean, you grew up here, your family's from here.
Yeah. My family has been here for many generations. I grew up in Statesville. So my great grandfather and then predecessors, they actually were in Mount Ulla, but if you're from there, I think it's Mount Ula, but I say Ulla. But anyway, the history is that they were in the lumber business, and they had PM Barger. Actually, it was Barger Brothers at that point in time, and then became PM Barger Lumber Company. And I think it was my granddad or great grandfather was 60 or 65 years old. He picked up, moved from Mooresville to Statesville, and opened up a new business.
Okay.
So, pretty big move for a 60-plus-year-old guy. Then my granddad went into the family business. My dad went into the family business. I always thought I was going to go into the family business, but the family business didn't last long enough. So we were in the wholesale lumber business. So Barger Millwork Company, so right off of Interstate 77. I've got pictures of the building as they were building 77, in kind of our family archives. But it used to be, I guess they call it the 5 Points down on Front Street where I guess it's Thornburg Hosiery is today. They used to be there. That was the original Barger Millwork Company.
Oh, okay.
But
a family of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, my granddad was a lumber broker.
Okay.
My great grandfather, and so he brought the first rail car loads of redwood into this part of the country, and so he would go out to the West Coast. He would buy fir, redwood, things that you couldn't get on the East Coast, and then bring it back by rail. And that's how we started the company. From there, it went into other wholesale millwork things. And unfortunately, wholesale millwork is not a thing anymore. And, that business kind of disappeared with the Lowe's home improvement model.
Sure.
But we always had that really strong entrepreneurial, I did, because I grew up in that family business. It's always something I wanted to do. Dad always said, go work for somebody else first. Learn how to build a business, then go do it. And that was great advice. So, we finally got the opportunity to do that. When was that? 2012. 2012. So
Seems like yesterday.
But yeah, I grew up at Glendale Drive. Tip Nicholson, everybody knows Tip Nicholson, right? So Dad sold the house to Tip however many years ago. If you go to Tip's house and you look in the driveway, there's a beautiful maple tree on the right. I planted that, Tip, just so you know.
Their house is your family house? I didn't know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Went to D-Mat Thompson when that was a thing. We called it doormat and then jokewood, right? So
Yeah, my parents went to DMAT. Yeah.
and that's back in the day when we all rode our bikes to school, right? I went to Oakwood the other day where our youngest is right now, and one poor child on a bike. And I remember back in the day, man, there was like bike racks, hundreds of bikes, right? Mm-hmm. But
it'd be nice if we could get back to that.
oh gosh, I miss that. Yeah.
Mine doesn't ride his bike, but he walks to school and back every day.
Yeah, I see him.
good,
I
good.
see him. I see him
Yeah,
walking down
that's
the street
fantastic.
sometimes.
He has a bike. He just chooses to walk.
It's nice to be close for you.
So
You
yeah,
can walk like
I'm
that.
Statesville born and bred. So
Yeah,
Very cool.
and let's talk a minute because Iredell County is so rich in agriculture. And when Vienna was here, you guys had just won this amazing award from North Carolina, from the state of North Carolina, for
Right.
your participation in agriculture, which I thought was a very high accolade.
It was
unexpected, right?
totally shocker to us. We had no idea
Yeah.
that we were considered, and certainly didn't think that we were deserving to win. But we're very appreciative. So. We a lot of people don't understand that the bourbon business, the liquor business in general, it's an agriculturally based business. I mean, so every day, just our little company, we go through about 60,000 pounds of grain every day, and we're running 360 days, a year. So that's a lot of grain, and we're very proud that the vast majority of that grain is produced really in Iredell and surrounding counties. It all comes from within basically a 15, 20-mile radius. So we've got great farming families that we partner with. The really cool thing about that, though, is that we're taking what would be kind of a raw ingredient, and we're making a value-added product that's agriculturally based, and even the waste material is reused. We send that out. That gets fed primarily to dairy cattle. So it's a full agricultural circle. And we've got a fantastic Commissioner of Agriculture, Commissioner Traxler. Very, very forward-thinking guy. Big fan of not just our company, but the industry for North Carolina in general. And the thing that we appreciate about him so much is he's always thinking, okay, how can we keep North Carolina ahead of the curve, right? So value-added ag is a huge part of that. The other part of that is exports. And so as we look at bourbon in particular, it's an American-produced product. It has to be produced in America, but historically it's always been enjoyed in America. The real opportunity is looking at export. Let's move that great American product, to the other parts of the world. And so with the support of the Department of Ag, we were able to do kind of a mission trip into Europe last year. Pretty successful, both for the branded side of the business as well as our contract side of the business. And, they appreciated what we were doing, and we were, again, awarded Exporter of the Year from the North Carolina Department of Ag. So,
Very cool.
again, not something that we expected, but pretty nice.
Yeah, that's very exciting. So on top of your passion for cars and racing and being an entrepreneur in the bourbon business, Pete is also on the board of directors for the Statesville Convention and Visitors Bureau. So has a passion for tourism in his business in general as being a local growing up
I have a
here.
passion for celebrating Statesville.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. And, we could just stay out on Jennings Road and just mind our business. But, this is my hometown. And I'm proud of it. And I want other people to experience it and be proud of that when they leave here. And so I'm very honored to work with Cindy Sutton
Oh, thank you.
on that, because without Cindy Sutton, folks, wouldn't be the same. I'm going to tell you, this woman works.
I don't know
does
about
yeoman's
that.
work out there.
I was going to say, it's people with passion like yours that
You can
keeps
pay
me
me after the
keeps me
event.
ticking. Yeah, I will. But this podcast is made possible by the Statesville Convention and Visitors Bureau. Also, Discover Statesville is made possible by the support of the Statesville Convention and Visitors Bureau, and we're very grateful for that. We're grateful for your passion and your time that you give.
Absolutely.
You give back to tourism. So people, Southern Distilling right here locally in Statesville, if you're local and you haven't been, they have a tasting room open 7 days a week.
We have a tasting room open 7 days a week, and we have a very exciting palette of new special releases that will only be available in the tasting room there. So very special things that I've picked, that Vienna's picked, that we're doing special finishes on. So come and visit. It's a great time.
Yeah, you're in the bar there. Your mixologists do an amazing job. I'm a bourbon drinker, so I enjoy when they come up with new drinks and they have their events. Food trucks out there on Saturday.
Yeah, pretty often, yeah.
On Saturdays. If you're traveling through, am I going to say this right? Stop and sip for a while.
Stop and sip for a while.
That's
what the billboard says.
But even if you're not, I think that the tour in general and everything, I mean, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a bourbon person, just to learn about the business and how you guys operate and
For
everything.
the whole family, educational program.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing. A lot of people, I can't take my kids to this. So it is a family environment. We even have like a big toy box for the toddlers that come in. But, kids really enjoy the science. It's science, right?
Oh, yeah, it's cool.
And, we get to learn and teach people about all sorts of chemistry and physics. But it's really the only opportunity outside Tennessee or Kentucky to see a distillery operate at this scale. So it's really kind of cool.
I
And
think
it's
so.
right off
Yeah,
77.
that's remarkable.
So simple.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss, and your marketing team would be upset with me if I didn't mention that you have robust social media. Follow along on Instagram for some cool behind-the-scenes content.
Yep.
We reposted a video from one of your visitors that was the bung. He was, they untapped the barrel.
She doesn't want to say it. That
Bung
little
hole.
piece of wood, it's called a bung, and you got to pull.
say he
You
tapped
got
the
to
bung
pull.
hole.
You got to pull it. It's an industry. It's a real thing.
But it was our number one performing reel. Everyone was excited about
Everybody
it.
likes
So,
it. Yeah.
look, now I'm red. Southern Distilling people, everyone make plans.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Cindy. Come on.
This month in
Just above
June 13th from 5 to 9, you're not going to want to miss this summer
Come on
cruising.
by. Yeah, even if you don't have a car, come on by. We want to see you.
Absolutely. Southern Distilling, everyone. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks,
Bye.
folks. See ya.
Thank you for joining Discover Statesville. You can email us at discover@statesvillenc.com. Check us out on Facebook at Discover Statesville NC, #Discover Statesville, and our website, statesvillenc.com. Catch us next week as we continue on our journey to uncover the hidden gems, culinary adventures, entertainment, and to be inspired and enlightened as we discover Statesville.